Well, hot damn. Yo, what is up everybody? Jumpin' here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys what I think is the most ridiculous build in Dragon Age Inquisition, the Artificer, or I guess you could say the Artificer, whatever it's actually called. I just call it the Artificer, so don't flame me too hard, but that's really what it is. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this build, and I'm going to go really in-depth about it, and also my allies a little bit, because with the new DLC, a lot of things have changed, and I do want to point some of those things out. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, the first thing I want to say is the opening scene was on Nightmare difficulty, and I was using the new trials. The only two I don't use is rub some dirt on it. It makes it so your healing potions are absolutely useless, and that includes all healing items. So healing mist and regeneration potions are also useless, so I don't like it. The other one I don't like is take it slow. It basically makes it so that you gain half of the XP that you normally would. And with the new trials, you can actually get really high level. It's kind of insane. Right now, I'm about 50% through the game, and I am level 25. That is crazy. Anyway, the reason why you get so much XP is because of even ground. It makes it so that all enemies will scale to you. And also, I believe the other one that will increase the amount of XP that you get is going to be Grizzly Inn. Now, when you read this, you don't know what it does because they don't really tell you. They say, you thought bears were tough? Think again. Now, I think I know what this does. You will notice that, in the opening scene, certain enemies, oh my god, they take so much to kill. It's ridiculous. And I'm hitting for multiple thousands of damage, and yet they're just taking it like it's nothing. Well, the reason for this, I think it's because of this right here. Basically, what this does is that it makes it so that certain enemies are considered bosses. So in one group of enemies, there will be either one or two boss level enemies, and they're a lot stronger than the normal ones, and you can totally tell as you're fighting them. So I think that is what this does. I'm not 100%, but it makes sense, and I really enjoy it because I think it's more fun. Basically, with the new DLC, and with the trials, and with the golden nug, and maybe a couple exploits along the way, you can really make this game feel like you are playing New Game Plus, which I really like, primarily because of even ground, and walk softly is another one that's really cool because it gives the enemies new traits and abilities, which is something that New Game Plus should do in most games, is make it so that enemies will do new things. That's really cool. And also Grizzly Inn will make it feel that way as well. And there's other trials here that also are really cool. Alright, so I really love the Trespasser DLC, and I highly recommend it because it's great for the story, and it really does help a lot for some of the new things you can get. It makes the game a lot of fun. So I would say if you're thinking about playing this game again, definitely get the Trespasser DLC, play through it, use the Golden Nug to upload all your schematics, and then go ahead and start over and use the new trials and have a lot of fun and treat the game like New Game Plus. That's what I say. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the build. Now, most of the things in this build are going to be vanilla game stuff. Okay, there's really not that much to do with the new stuff you can get with the Trespasser DLC. But there's one major one that I will talk about that actually really does affect this build a lot. And that is something you might want to consider. But the other builds in the game, like warriors and mages, they are really affected by the Trespasser DLC. So if you want to make them super OP or even more OP than they ever was, the Trespasser DLC will help out a lot with that. Now you might notice I have some points to spend. Well, I was saying that you could do some exploits if you wanted to make the game feel more like New Game Plus, and that's what I did. And I might have went a little overboard on some of my people, but at least for my main Inquisitor, I think I only did it about 6 times. So I went ahead and I just respec this build to take away those 6 points. Although I do say if you want to make the game feel like New Game Plus, go ahead and exploit if you want. Because first of all, you can get infinite money to buy certain things that you might want to buy, and you can also get a whole bunch of extra points if you want to spend them. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is an infinite duplication glitch using the storage system, and I'm sure there's a lot of videos on YouTube about it, so if you don't know about it, you can look it up. But it's really easy to do. You just put something into storage, and then you press X and circle at the same time, or A and B at the same time. And what you'll do is you'll leave it in the storage and you'll get it in your inventory. So you will duplicate it. You do that multiple times, you can get a lot of money. You do that with Amulets of Power, you can get like a whole bunch of extra abilities. So it is really, really good. And if you want to use that exploit, I don't really see a problem with it because it is a part of the game. And like I said, if you're going to use all the new trials and you're going to play on Nightmare and you're going to do everything else, it's going to make the game feel like New Game Plus. And that actually, in my opinion, actually helps it feel like New Game Plus. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the build. Now, there's 3 main attacks with this build, and there's extra ones you can use, but the 3 main ones is going to be Flank Attack, Shadow Strike, and the Elemental Mines. So let's start with Flank Attack. The main thing here, you want Skirmisher, just because this will make you go into stealth afterwards, and it's a little bit glitchy because what I've noticed is that when I use this and I do normal attacks, I don't actually leave stealth. Until I do my next ability, I will leave stealth. So that is something to consider. Now, all the passives are good. There is one that's going to actually help a lot, which is this one. When you kill an enemy, you get 50 stamina back. So this is actually kind of important. Also, Twin Fangs is a good ability. I just don't use it personally, just because, I don't know. It's up to you. You can use it if you want, but I kind of skip it just because. But you have to get it if you want to get the passives. Now, one of the abilities that I do highly recommend that is really good is Death Blow. And I use the vanilla upgrade for this. Basically, anytime an enemy is half health, this will do a massive amount of damage to them. So just keep that in mind. Any half health enemy, use Death Blow and you'll fuck them up. Okay, now this right here is actually pretty good, but the new trial system, well, it kind of fucks it up. Basically, there is a trial that I use that makes it so that every time I rest or I go to a camp or I travel, basically, if I do anything, I lose all my focus. So because of that, I don't really go for this upgrade. If you're not using that trial, I would say this would be amazing on this build because you do a lot of combos. In fact, if you're watching the beginning and you notice the game was slowing down, it's not because of frame rate issues, believe it or not. I really can't tell that the frame rate is affected all that much. Sometimes, yeah, it can be a little bit glitchy and stuff, but overall the frame rate seems to be okay, even with all the explosions and everything, which is kind of crazy. But when you see the game slow down like it did with the slow-mo, that is because I was pulling off like combos, and it was just like, you know, showing how cool those combos are and that kind of stuff. So focus teamwork would actually be really good. You could go for this even if you're going to use the new trials and you're going to make it so your focus is going to not come back. That way you can actually get your focus really quick, because this would affect it. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this. Spike Trap, I don't really use it, so you have to get it, but I don't use it. Same with Fallback Plan. At first, I thought this would be amazing because of the new upgrade. And the new upgrade is using Fallback Plan resets all your cooldowns. That sounds awesome, but you don't need it. That's the thing. I didn't even realize that when I started this build. The main power here, here's the thing, you want all the passives, just saying. But the main power here is going to be Elemental Mines. These are amazing. You throw out a bunch of mines, and here is the upgrade. This is from the vanilla game. Basically, you use up all your stamina, every bit of stamina you have. And then when you do that, you get 1 additional mine for every 5 stamina. Now, this is the power that will be affected by the new DLC. There are new items, they're called sigils, and you can put them on your armor. Now, in my opinion, the best one for basically everyone, besides maybe warriors, is called the Sigil of the Great Bear. And what that does, it makes it so that you get 100% more stamina / mana, but at a penalty of minus 50% stamina / mana regeneration. Now that kind of sucks, but there's ways around that, especially for rogues. It really doesn't affect rogues at all. Now mages, it does affect, but there's a lot of passives you can get to give you more stamina regeneration, so it really doesn't affect mages all that bad as well. Warriors are affected by it. Maybe a two-handed warrior can benefit from it, because a two-handed warrior, anytime you hit multiple enemies, you get like 10 stamina back or something like that, and that could actually really help a lot. But like I said, warriors overall are kind of affected by it in a bad way. So you might want to not use it on a warrior. Although I do. I actually use it on Cassandra just because it's so freaking good. Anyway, what that does though is because you're going to double your amount of stamina you have, it's going to dramatically affect this because you're going to throw a lot more mines. And I've tested it, it does work. And oh my god, you throw a ton of mines. It's a lot more than the vanilla game. And that's the main reason why I wanted to do this build, is because of that one sigil. I wanted to test that out and see how broken it was, and guess what? It was broken. Now every passive here is great, okay? This one makes it so that everyone gets 5% critical hit chance. That's awesome. This one makes it so that everyone's abilities will hit for 10% more damage, and the duration of any buff/debuff will be extended by 10%. But the main power here that's absolutely ridiculous, and when you read this, you think, oh, well, that's pretty good, but I don't know. It says, when an ally critical hits, you take advantage of their success faster with reduced cooldown times. And it's 0.5 seconds for every critical hit that your ally gets. Well, guess what? This includes you. So anytime I get a critical hit, I reduce my own cooldowns, and it is ridiculous. Basically, with the combos that we're going to be doing, you're going to always have your powers. It's absolutely crazy. Now, you might think because of elemental mines and the stamina thing, well, you're going to lose all your stamina. Guess what, guys? That's really is not a big deal because there's a lot of ways around that to get your stamina back. So with this build, you basically have an unlimited amount of cooldown. You're always going to have your powers, and you have like an unlimited amount of stamina. So you could just spam the shit out of your powers. And that is what makes this build so ridiculous, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and move on to stealth. Stealth is actually pretty important. I don't use stealth because I use flank attack for stealth. There is a new upgrade for this that's really good though. What it does is that when you exit stealth, and I believe once again, you need to use an ability to actually benefit from this, because when I do normal attacks, I pretty much exit stealth immediately. But with this, if you do an ability, you will get a duration of stealth of 3 seconds. That actually really does help a lot, because let's say you're playing as an assassin and you're like, okay, I'm going to use leaping shot in the archery tree, and then I'm going to use hidden blades, and then I'm going to use, I don't know, shadow strike or something. You can actually pull off all 3 of those and still get the stealth bonus. So it's really, really cool. Now for the passives are actually pretty decent in the stealth tree. Evasion's like whatever. Now, evade is actually really good for, let's say, an archer. I love it for an archer. But because I'm a dual wielder, which I think is a very important aspect of this build, because the mines, oh my god, they're so good just because you're going to get really close range. You're going to throw them out constantly. Now, when you do throw your mines, you do kind of want to be close, but you want to kind of back up just a bit and try to aim them so that they'll actually like surround the enemy, because if you're right up on an enemy and you throw them, a lot of times they're going to overshoot the enemy. So you want to be really close, but not like right in their face when you throw them out. So just keep that in mind. But yes, that's how you want to play with it. But I do think a dual wielder artifactor is a lot better than an archer artifactor. And I think that's the reason why I never actually used this build, is because of Varric. I never liked it on Varric, but he's an archer. Now, I've made him a dual wielder, but the AI is stupid, and the AI doesn't know how to play certain builds. Like the Artifactor, the AI doesn't know how to play that. The Tempest, the AI doesn't know how to play that either. Knight Enchanter, Reaver, all those, the AI does a horrible job as, playing as them. Where things like the Rift Mage, and let's say the Templar, and different tank builds, that's fine. The AI does a wonderful job with those builds. But in terms of like certain builds where you have to be really involved, well, you need to be the one playing as them. So I never knew how good this build was just because of probably Varric. I don't want to play as Varric. I want to play as my Inquisitor. So that's it. Anyway, I don't use this ability, like I said, just because it's whatever. I have flank attack to move around quick if I want to. This is another pretty good one, 50% armor penetration for 6 seconds after leaving stealth. You're going to always have this effect just because of flank attack. Shadow Strike, this is one of the main abilities you're going to be using. Basically, the combo is this. You throw out your mines, which is going to consume all of your stamina. You do one basic attack. Generally, it only takes one normal attack. You get enough stamina to use flank attack. You use flank attack, you use Shadow Strike, and you can maybe use another ability if you want. But that's really the 3-hit combo that you're going to be using a lot. And what this does is that when you pull off Shadow Strike, you're going to get 70 stamina back. So basically, you're going to have enough stamina to throw out your mines again. And you just repeat. You throw out the mines, you do a normal attack, you do flank attack, you do Shadow Strike. You can maybe do another build if you want. But there you go. You have all your stamina back. You throw out the mines again, and you just do that over and over. Now, this is from the vanilla game. So there you go. All right, now for this is really important. Don't worry about the ability, but this right here, super duper important. This is going to help you with your stamina dramatically. What it does, every time you get a critical hit, you're going to get 10 stamina back. And with the mines, if you have a high critical hit chance, let's say all the mines crit, or most of them crit, you're going to get all your stamina back instantly with this. Plus, if you kill an enemy with the mines, you're going to get 50 stamina back because of the dual wielder tree. Plus, if you do Shadow Strike, you're going to get 70 stamina back. So yes, this helps a lot, and this is really important for any rogue. An assassin rogue, a tempest rogue, doesn't matter. This is one of the most important things you're going to get on your rogue. This is whatever, it's pretty good, but you don't need it right away. And throwing blades, this is the ability I actually like a lot. I use it all the time. It gives me a little bit of range if I need range. It hits 4 times, it does a decent amount of damage. And the reason why hitting multiple times is good is because you want to get your Fade Touch items to basically trigger, which would be like Fade Touch Silverite and Fade Touch Plush Velvet. You want those to trigger, and hitting multiple times will actually help a lot. And that's something I haven't talked about yet, which I really should. Basically, the trials will make farming a breeze, because once you have a trials upgrade, you can basically get anything you want. All you gotta do is save the game before you open the chest. So if you want to get the sigil of the Great Bear or any type of sigil, just keep opening up the chest and reloading your save until you get the sigil that you want. At level 12, you start to get tier 3 Fade Touched items. So you can do the same thing to get Fade Touch Plush Velvet, which will add Hidden Blades with 5 hits, or Fade Touch Silverite, which will add 5 guard with each hit. So those were things that were a bitch to farm for. I mean, they really were annoying as hell to farm for. And now, all you gotta do is reload your save. And if you can get lucky, you can get it really quick. And it just really does help with your build. And there's other Fade Touch items that are amazing. So that is something else to consider. And that's basically it. The last perk I normally go for is this, First Blood. This does actually apply to dual wielders. It applies to all rogues. And there's actually a lot of abilities like this, where just because you're not using that type of weapon, it doesn't mean it won't apply to you. The warrior tree is a perfect example of that. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the weapons real quick. Alrighty, so now for the weapons, I'm using the same type of weapon times 2. And I name them, so I don't even know the name of this weapon. I'll take a look at it. But basically, what I'm doing with this one right here is I'm using critical hit chance on it. It has 29% critical hit chance. All you gotta do is you use, I believe, a Great Bear Hide for that. And it's times 3 Great Bear Hide, which will add the 29% critical chance. It could be my upgrade as well, because the dagger I'm using, you can put a grip on it. And with the grip, I believe it can add 11% attack, which is good. And I believe it adds 6% critical hit chance. And on this one, I have 10% chance to use Hidden Blades on a hit with 5 hits added. Now, those do not stack, so you only want to use one of that. There is a tier 2 version of that will stack if you want, which is 4 hits added, but I don't really go for that. Now, on this one, I'm using critical hit damage primarily, because the way I look at it, once you get like a certain amount of critical hit chance, you don't really need any more. At that point, you should focus on critical hit damage. And with this build, I believe I have over 70% critical hit chance, so I don't really need it anymore. So instead, I go for the critical hit damage on this blade, and I also have the same upgrade, so 11% critical hit attack and 6% critical hit chance, which I could turn that into critical hit damage if I choose to. Now, for the Fade Touch item I have on this one, it's plus 20% damage if not being hit for 5 seconds. That's actually really good. They nerfed it though. It used to be 30% damage if not being hit for 5 seconds. So that sucks, but it's still a really good upgrade. Horn of Valor would be another one to add on here. That would be amazing. And there's one more I haven't talked about yet, I tested it and I kind of thought it didn't really benefit much. It could be a little glitchy, so it's something to consider. But there is a Fate Touch item. It's called Fate Touched Bear or Great Bear Hide. And what that one does, it adds 20 stamina. Now, if you think about the elemental mines, that can help a lot because with 20 stamina, that will add an additional 5 mines. Or is it 4? Yeah, it will add 4 additional mines. Plus, with the sigil, it should actually up that to 8 extra mines. When I tested it, I didn't really notice a difference. And that's just the way it was, because with the sigil, there is a huge difference. You can instantly tell. But with the Fate Touch Great Bear Hide, I didn't really see much of a difference. So that's the reason I'm not using it. But it is something to consider if you want to go ahead and get that with the trials. Like, if you're using the trials method by saving, you can go ahead and get it and test it out for yourself if you want to see. But that's basically my weapons. Now let me go ahead and talk about the armor real quick. I'm using Superior Prowler armor. And with this, I add a bunch of dexterity. Each point of dexterity will add 1% critical hit damage. I'm using some health. And the main thing here that I'm using is the Sigil of the Great Bear, which is 100% stamina / mana and minus 50% regeneration. And for the armor, I'm using gain 5 guard on hit. So that is amazing. You're going to have a whole bunch of guard, and it really does help a lot. Now, with the new difficulty of the Trials and Nightmare, I really do think you still want to go for that. It is something you can consider not going for and maybe putting Horn of Valor or something else on there. But I think the guard is good because I did take that off for a while and I was using something else and I was constantly almost dying and it was annoying. But with this, I'm really never dying and it's godly. Now the helmet, this is very important. You only get one of these in the game, but the Mask of the Grand Duchess, 12% critical hit chance, 6 cunning, great. Now if you're going to dupe anything, this is something you might want to consider duping. Same with accessories. A lot of the accessories you might want to consider. The Belt of Light, this is actually really good. Some of these items in the schematics I'm using, well, not all of them, but some of them I'm using, they're from the Black Emporium. And that's a free DLC, so anyone can get it as long as you have an internet connection. And this belt, the Belt of Life, comes from that as well. All this does, it adds 10% healing and 100% maximum health. I probably would use the other one, which I can't even remember what it's called. I think it's just the Superb Belt of Life or Belt of Health, which is 200 maximum health. I don't know. The belt's really not a big deal. Now this right here, this is a really interesting helmet. Unfortunately, it makes it, I just called this a helmet. I meant an amulet. It makes it so that it's you get a negative effect, which is minus 50% flanking damage bonus. But I still like it overall because it adds 30% frost defense, 20% attack, and 10 dexterity. So it's either this or maybe the Amulet of Dexterity, which is 10 dexterity. So I choose this one. The flanking damage is a bummer, but hey, whatever. If you don't know where to get this, I believe they added this in just in general, so even in the vanilla game you can get this now. And you get it in the same location where you get the only Amulet of Power for your Inquisitor, which is in Crestwood. And it's after you deal with the undead threat. Once you're done with that quest, you go back to the actual town, and there's a locked door that you need the tier 2 lockpick, like Inquisitor perk or whatever, to open. You open it, you get this, and the Amulet of Power. Now, you do get 2 of these legit throughout the game, okay? The Ring of Critical Damage, and it's 20% critical damage for each. Once again, this is another item that you might want to consider duping the crap out of and giving to all your allies. It's just an option for you if you want to do that. Okay, now, that's basically it. Let me go ahead and show you the weapon so you know what it's called. And this weapon schematic, I got this from the Black Emporium, and if you use the Golden Nug, you can transfer it over. And here it is right here. This is the one. Now, the other one that I like a lot is this. It has a lot less damage on it. But, you know, hey, also, of course, when you're making your weapons, make sure you use Dragon Bone, just so you get the maximum amount of damage. Well, that's pretty much the Artifactor build in a nutshell. That's about everything I wanted to talk about in terms of this build. I will actually go ahead and show my allies as well and talk about what I like about them. if you guys are interested. I'm going to take a quick break though, and I will be right back, and when I'm back, we can go ahead and talk about my allies. Alright guys, well I'm back. I took about a 5-minute break to rest my voice because I was talking for 25 minutes straight. Let's go ahead and now talk about the allies. Obviously, it's up to you who you want to use, but for the Artificer, I'm using a group that I really enjoy, and I'll talk about why. But normally, I like to use 2 rogues, but for the Artificer, I like to use 2 mages just because of all the combos I can pull off, and because of the increased difficulty of the trials. Having double barrier really does help. Also, having a tank helps for that. Now, my allies I'm using is Cassandra, Vivian, and Solus. Now, Vivian is Knight Enchanter. The AI does not know how to play the Knight Enchanter correctly, so Dorian might be a better choice for that. But there's one problem with Dorian. They removed all of his amulets of power. So if you want to exploit, you can't really do it with Dorian. That is something to consider. But overall, the AI is definitely a lot better with Dorian than Vivian. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Cassandra now. I'm using Payback Strike. And with this, I'm using a brand new upgrade, which will taunt all the enemies that it hits. And that is actually really good, because this ability will generally hit every enemy in range of it. So you basically will taunt all of them, and I really do like Payback Strike. Shield Wall is good. There's actually a new shield schematic you can get that makes Shield Wall amazing. If you get 5 blocks, it does like an explosion, and it hits really hard. So that is something to consider, but I would only use that if you're going to be playing a warrior. If you're a warrior, I would use that shield, I would try it out, and I would use Shield Wall. But if you're going to give that to Cassandra or something, don't bother. She's not going to do it correctly. The passives here are good, primarily Turn the Blade. This is an amazing passive. Shield Bash is another really good one. Because of the trials, there's a lot of enemies with armor, so Shield Bash will fucking destroy them. 800% damage against armor, and with the upgrade, it's 400%, so that is really good. I don't go for anything in this tree, but you can if you want to. Primarily, these passives, okay? Flow of Battle, this reduces cooldowns, which each critical hit. And if you have a high critical hit rating on her, this will greatly benefit her. Even as a one-handed weapon / shield user, you will still get this ability if you go for it. Same with this, you get 100% guard. Same with this, you will weaken armor with every critical hit. So keep that in mind. The only one you really won't benefit from is this one right here, and that is hitting multiple enemies will grant 10% stamina returned. That's really good for a 2-handed warrior, but for a 1-handed warrior, you really won't benefit from this. Certain abilities will hit multiple enemies like Charging Bull and Payback Strike, but outside of that, you really won't see a good benefit from this. So this is something to avoid, but I would highly recommend getting this, if anything, because this really does help any warrior. Moving on to her Battle Master tree, I don't use Grappling Chain, I don't really like it. These 2 passives are actually really good, especially this one, Deep Reserves. It makes it so that you get more stamina back if you are low on stamina. I really like it a lot. I didn't go for these yet because, like I said, I kind of cheated a little bit and I didn't want to show that, but these are 2 that I would highly recommend getting eventually. Same with all of the passives in this tree. Every passive in this tree is actually really good. Horn of Valor. This is an amazing ability. They did nerf it slightly. It used to grant, I believe, 35% damage bonus. They lowered it to 15% damage bonus. And with the upgrade, it's an additional 15%. So now it's only 30%. But it's still really good if she uses it and buffs everyone. Now for her Vanguard tree, Warcry was always a great ability just for getting guard and taunting enemies. There's a new upgrade here that will extend the range of it and will give it more duration. So this new ability, or this new upgrade, is extremely good and I like it a lot. Charging Bull is actually one of my favorite powers in the game. It's a lot of fun to use. You move really quickly. I do like the vanilla game upgrade. It is a very good upgrade. But this new one is also really cool because it makes you run faster and you get more control of it. Same with this right here. This is an ability that you can go for. It's really good at getting guard. If you have Silverite on your armor though, it actually something you don't really need all that much. And in general, the tanks normally don't need it because you're going to have so much barrier and everything else that you don't really need this ability. Anyway, this is the main thing here that's going to make her a debuffing god. Basically, any taunted enemy will receive 20% more damage if you hit them. So with Warcry and Payback Strike, and also this one right here, which is Bodyguard, you're going to taunt a shit ton of enemies and you're going to debuff the crap out of them. So it's very, very good. Bodyguard does help. Basically, any of your allies that are in the range of this will not take as much damage. It will be transferred over to Cassandra, and she is a super tank right now. So, like, you know, it's just really good overall. The new upgrade is amazing as well. If they do hit any of your allies, she will taunt them, and they will de-aggro off of your ally, and this will kick in as well. So it's a really good combo. Now for her Templar stuff, well, it's kind of optional, some of this, but a lot of these buffs are good. Like this right here will grant damage resistance to like every element, 10%, very good. This one right here will grant bonus damage against demons, which is pretty good. This actually can detonate combos, which is nice, and with the new upgrade, it makes it so that all your Templar abilities will affect magic users as well as demons. So that's actually pretty good, especially if you're going to go for Wrath of Heaven, which is a very, very hard-hitting power, but it used to only work against demons. It will stun every enemy, it doesn't matter, but against demons it does a lot of damage. Well, now because of this upgrade, it will also affect magic users. So that is something to consider, and it is really good. The new upgrade is also kind of good, but trust me, she never dies. At least for me, I never have her close to death. The main power here that is amazing is Blessed Blades. This will buff your entire party by 15% if they step into the circle. It used to kind of suck because if you would walk out of the circle, you would lose the buff, and that is something that would happen all the time. Well, with the new upgrade, it makes it so that if your allies are in the circle and then they walk out, they keep the bonus for 10 seconds. That is amazing, and that is why I think Cassandra is the best warrior ally, because she can debuff and buff the shit out of your allies. Now for my mages, they're pretty much the same. The only difference is their, you know, special abilities and stuff. The new upgrade for barrier is actually pretty good. It's up to you which one you want, cooldown or extra duration. I like the duration. I think it helps a lot. All the passives here are good, especially the mana regeneration one because of the sigil of the bear. But Dispel, this is another one that's really good for pulling off combos. This can detonate combos for you, and it will grant like buffs if you use it, so it's really nice. For her freaking Knight Enchanter, remember the AI doesn't really use this correctly. Spirit Blade kind of took a big hit, but overall it's still pretty good as long as you build it up with like you have to basically charge it up, and it's kind of dumb, but there's certain ways around that, especially if you're playing as a Knight Enchanter. Vivian, of course, isn't very smart, but you know, hey, whatever. But Spirit Blade's good. All the passives here are good. And basically every ability here is good. I just skipped certain ones because she does know how to use them right, and that's the main reason. Now for the Winter's Tree, oh my god. I love Winter's Grass a lot. It sets up enemies for combos to take massive damage if you like shatter them. But the main thing here is the new upgrade. If they're chilled or frozen, they take an additional 1000% weapons damage. Now with the Artifactor and the Elemental Mines, a lot of those mines will be ice mines. And if they hit the enemies, they will chill them. And then if one of your mages uses this ability, they're going to just do massive damage. Winter Stillness is another one that's really good. Normally as a Knight Enchanter, I would not recommend this because as a Knight Enchanter, you're going to be moving around a lot. But Vivian, the AI is stupid, so she's going to stand still a lot. And if she is standing still, she gets this bonus, which is 50% mana regeneration. It is very, very nice. Now for the Fire Tree, this is the new tree that I think is just amazing. The Fire Tree was always good. The passives are great. All of them are good. Maybe besides this one, it's not so good. This ability is good too. All the fire abilities are good besides Wall of Fire. I don't like this one, but the rest of them are good. But the main thing here I want to talk about is this first of all. This is great. It powers up your fire spells, and as a Knight Enchanter, this really will not like hurt you at all. It just doesn't. But Fire Mine, this was always a really strong power, 1600% weapon damage. The only other ability that I know of that hits that hard is full draw, and that's only if they have full health. Now, that is a lot of damage. Well, the new ability makes it so that you create 3 mines in front of you. So as a Knight Enchanter, if you're going to run in close range, this is incredible. I have hit enemies for 20,000 damage with Fire Mine. It's insane. There's also a belt in the game. It's newly added. And what it will do is that it reduces your overall health, which doesn't matter if you're a Knight Enchanter because you're always going to have barriers. But it makes it so that you do either more ice damage, fire damage, lightning damage. So I give them the fire belt, and it is incredible. Like, you just do so much extra damage. So Fire Mine OP. Everything in the Storm Tree is good. Every single thing. If you want to get these, go ahead and get them. The passives are good. This one used to be glitched, but they fixed it, so now it does work. But yes, all the passives are good. But the main power here that is absolutely amazing and a must for any mage is Energy Barrage. This shoots out 12 projectiles. That basically combos very well with any Fade Touch item. If you have a 10% chance to hit, then with the Fade Touch item, this is almost a guarantee. Same with Silverite, you will get full guard with this generally. If you're a Knight Enchanter, this will build up your barrier to be like full. And on top of it, if you're trying to build up your Spirit Blade so that you can get like a really massive hit, this is good as well. So everything here is good, and you might want to consider getting everything in that tree. Now for Solus, the only thing I need to talk about is his Rift Mage, because everything else is pretty much the same with Solus. The Rift Mage is great for debuffing enemies, especially with Pull the Abyss. I love this. The new upgrade will make it so that it does damage, but I still like the old upgrade because it reduces the cooldown and it extends the weakened duration. If you play as a Rift Mage, Stonefist is amazing. It's a ability you can spam the crap out of, and it's really good. Solus will not spam it. The AI doesn't know how to use it right, so consider that. I'd actually just turn it off because he just doesn't know how to use it right. The passives here are all good, every single one of them, especially this one, which will grant you more mana, which is good if you're using the Sigil of the Bear. And Veil Strike. This is another really good ability. I also like the upgrade. I like the upgrade, the old one, not the new one. So it's something you can definitely go for if you want. Alright, so that's all the abilities I'm using. Now for the weapons. Now, most of this stuff, or some of this is new, some of this is from the Black Emporium, like this axe right here. This is called the Axe of Green Edges. You get it from the Black Emporium. I have 6% attack on it, 24% critical chance, 21% critical damage, 10% chance to use hidden blades. Now, one thing to consider, there is another really good weapon to use. It's called the Moralist Club, and you can put a massive amount of attack bonus on that if you want to use that instead. This is a new shield from the new DLC, 14% fire resistance, 30% front defense, 165 health, and 10% chance to grant Horn of Valor. That's just good because although she has the ability, it's just nice to get that to trigger every once in a while. And the new little special thing about this shield is that it blocks 1 melee attack every 30 seconds. Very, very good. Now, for my mages, they're using the exact same staff, so I don't need to show Solus. Basically, it has 17% attack bonus on it, 22% critical chance, 56% critical damage, 6 magic, 10% chance to use hidden blades, and the special ability on this, the schematic is called Encore, so the weapon is actually named correctly, but it has a chance, I don't know what the chance is, but on hit, you can buff all allies within 8 meters. It's very, very good, and it's a really good staff. Now, for the Knight Enchanter, there is a lightsaber two-handed weapon you could use if you want to give her that instead. That is something to consider because the AI will play the Knight Enchanter a lot better if you give them the two-handed greatsword. It's basically a staff, but let's just say it's a greatsword. You can give it to Vivian and she will always run into close range with it. So it is kind of nice, but it just does a lot less damage. And I like the Encore effect more, personally. Now, let's talk about armors. I love this armor so much on Cassandra. I think it looks really cool. It's just a really cool warrior dress. I always hated the Cassandra armors. I just thought they always looked so stupid. This one, though, I think looks really awesome. This is the superior Battle Master Mail. You can get it from the Black Emporium, or you can find it randomly. It has 21% magic defense, 400 health bonus. Wow, 390, but whatever. Let's just say 400. I have the Sigil of the Great Bear on that. And I also have Pool the Abyss, a chance to have that on hit. And that's just amazing. It's a great debuffing power. You can put Silverite on this if you want. It's up to you. But I just like the Pool of the Abyss. Warriors don't generally need the Silverite. They can produce a lot of guard. I did dupe this multiple times, the Mask of the Grand Duchess, so on all of my allies besides Iron Bull, I have this on them because it's so good. Now for Vivian and Solus, their armor is the same. There's only one difference, and that's the Sigil. This is the superior Battle Mage armor, and it gets 7 dexterity, 39 magic, 14% magic defense, 60 health, and on her, I have the Sigil of Lyrium, which is 50% barrier minus 50% health on a Knight Enchanter. All you need to care about is your barrier bonuses, and on hit, gain 5 guard. Now for Solus, it's the exact same, besides I'm using the Sigil of the Great Bear. This will double the amount of spells he can use, and it's amazing, so there you go. Well, that's basically everything. Those are my allies. Like I said, Dorian is pretty good because the AI will play him better. If you want to make Vivian more close range, if you're going to choose to use her, you could use the Great Sword Staff. It's up to you. And yeah, that's basically it. I really love this build. It's a lot of fun. It goes ham. Is it the best in the world against dragons? Not so much. I still think the assassin is probably best. You can literally solo every dragon in the game as an assassin archer and just murder them really quickly. But yeah, overall though, against any enemies, this is an amazing build, especially when there's a large group of enemies. That's when it goes insane, and it's so much fun. Anyway, guys, I really hope this has helped, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, will you please like the video for me? Be sure to subscribe, and I really do hope that everyone has a very nice day, and peace out.